ago, everything changed.
It's my 2023, the words I got is unpredictable, and 2024 is upswing. My own words, two words. One is,
Hope or fulfilling.
yeah, my own words, 2023 is fulfilling, and the other one is home.
I packed up 2 years of my memory into suitcases and ended my lease starting living out of a suitcase. I traveled to many different places. For example, Amsterdam, Paris, Singapore, New York, Sweden. So looking back, this year has been the most transformative year of my life. I've learned to adapt, I've learned to let go of unnecessary things, and I've learned how to build a life from scratch and build connections. So at the end of last year, literally around a year ago, everything changed. I packed up 2 years of my memory into suitcases and ended my lease starting living out of a suitcase. I didn't know where the next 12 months would unfold, but looking back now, 12 months later, it's a year of discovery, growth, and unexpected beauty. So last year I was at crossroad of my career. I didn't know whether I'll still be able to live in London anymore. That's why I ended my lease. And after I ended my lease, I also didn't know where I would go.
What was the hardest part about leaving your London flat?
I think the hardest part is really I have to throw away so many stuff. Then I realized I don't need that much stuff. I wanted to have more flexibility, and that's why I started to experiment this digital nomad life. So over the past year, after I ended my lease, I traveled back home, be in Hong Kong, mainland China, and be with my family for a while, back to London, started my startup life, start to learn about all of those stuff, how you actually start a company, how you talk to people that are also in the startup scene. And I also started to live between London and Lisbon as two of my bases, and in between I traveled to many different places. For example, Amsterdam, Paris, Singapore, New York, Sweden. Most of the places are like where I attended conferences, and I end up staying in some places longer than I expected. For example, Singapore and New York, because I have friends there, I have family there. So it end up being a very enriched travel, working, re-experience the places I used to live or have been to in the past. It wasn't a very easy year all honesty, but it's the most fulfilling year I can ever ask for my life experience and to make this life count. So ever since I left London end of last year, I've been traveled to different places in no specific order. For example, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Singapore, New York, London. So I went back to Hong Kong and then came back to London again, then Amsterdam, Paris for conferences and events, and then back to London again, then to Lisbon, and then back to London again, then Singapore, and then Lisbon, and then Barcelona, Lisbon, London, Sweden, New York, back to London, and back to Lisbon, and now I'm back to London again. That's my whole year.
Which city surprised you the most this year?
Lisbon. I really love Lisbon. It's a city I feel very nourished. I now have a lot of friends there. I don't even, how do I count? It's like more than maybe 10 places, and the travel, as you can imagine, when you're constantly on the move, things rarely go as planned. So the lesson, if I could start over again, is always plan ahead. Always plan ahead. If you can, if you know that there is certain type of places that you want to go, plan a year ahead even. Then that's what I would do for my next year actually. Whether it's finding like last minute accommodation, or you think that, oh, that's the friend that I can count on, or that's the accommodation I can for sure live in. Always find backup options, always find out, oh, maybe that wouldn't work out, where would I stay? Because unless you have unlimited amount of money as a digital nomad, you don't want to spend too much money on accommodation, because especially when you're first figuring out this lifestyle, you always wanted to have a little buffer of where you want to stay, and ideally in a safe environment that you can actually live. depend on where you are in life, rather than from like one motel to another motel or one Airbnb to another Airbnb. Usually longer term relationship and longer term lease always is better than short term. There's always like things that go off last minute. I remember that time actually I was looking forward to moving to this flat. I've signed everything with this girl, and then eventually there's some problem with the flat. There's nothing wrong about our conversation or interaction. It's just something that's out of our control, and eventually that girl has to move out to her own apartment as well. And thank God this is really last minute, because I think it was the day before I had to go to New York to attend this New York Climate Week. I still wasn't sure where I would like pack up all my stuff, because I have some bigger suitcases. It was with my one neighbor, and then I caught up with another neighbor, and she's like, yeah, I'm going on holiday. So I think sometimes I'm like really extremely lucky in terms of finding these apartments, but now I have learned that even if you are lucky, you should always like try to have as many connections as you can have to be able to help you, even if you need them to, like, because things happen, right? We don't want it to be not able to stay at a place that we want to stay, or overpaying for premium of accommodation that you don't have to. So adaptability became my greatest tool this year, and I would carry it with me forever. The other thing I learned is normally things actually don't always go as planned. It always, actually you find a different way, and it's always maybe sometimes end up better. So the second lesson I've learned is about minimalism. Living out of a suitcase nowadays have taught me like what really matters in life. In the past, I always feel like at the beginning, especially when I moved out of my flat, I was like, why do I have so many stuff? I have 2 big suitcases. I was storing them with my neighbors, and I was just living out of a small carry-on suitcase and a backpack. At the beginning, I thought, oh, maybe I'll miss all my stuff. Maybe what if I need this? What if I need that? And eventually, honestly, I didn't need those stuff. I need a pair of workout shoes, a pair of sneakers, a pair of flats that I go to events. I need an outfit of me going to like events. If it's formal, I have it packed there. I need all my gears, and that can actually be very comfortably packed into the backpack, and also if you learn how to pack it well. Now it's so easy for me to pack everything into this one suitcase. It made me feel much lighter as well. I don't feel the same way as before, like I was burdened with stuff. I always wanted to buy stuff. Now I'm like, I wanted to sell some of the stuff. I wanted to maybe donate some of the stuff. I don't need that, right? Those things, I never really wear it. I never really use it that often. I've been wearing the same thing over and over again in the past almost year. Depending on the weather, it's the same type of outfit. Nobody really says a thing. Nobody really say, oh, why are you wearing the same thing again? Actually, what I find out is that's letting go of things. Actually, not only is a letting go of physical stuff, it's a letting go of some mental space that actually free our mind, and it also gives me the space to have more energy and more space for new things to come in as well. So if you're overwhelmed by clutter, start small. I would suggest maybe you can also try it. You don't have to be a digital nomad to declutter. You can start maybe from one drawer as a goal for 2025. And finally, it's building connections. I was worried that leaving London, because I finally have some friends. I feels like I have a community in London that people I can actually hang out with. They know what I've been going through. They've been supportive of my journey. You know, if you're going to a new place, it's always a worry that you don't know where that you're gonna start.
What made Lisbon feel so special for you?
I think one thing is because everyone is in somewhat shape or form of transition in their life. For example, me, I'm just trying to start my company, and some other people, they may be taking a sabbatical. So we're kind of, even though different, but somewhat similar. So that's why it feels very community driven, the city. I don't know that many people in Lisbon, to be fair. I went there once. My Hong Kong yoga teacher moved there. She's great. And that's the only person I know. And I just booked this Airbnb. I found a place, I booked a ticket, I went to Lisbon. But honestly, That was the greatest surprise. I felt like I was afraid that maybe people, it's more difficult to find friends, it's difficult to really set up a life, that you are more like a tourist rather than a local. But it's the opposite. For example, in some other places I only went there for conferences, but in Lisbon, it felt like there's a community of people who are going through similar stage in their life. They end up in Lisbon for the same reason. They're in some kind of transition in their life. I end up meeting so many friends, so many people. I built up amazing connections the first time I went there, and that's why I decided to go back again. And cities like New York and Singapore, I end up being able to catch up, reconnect with people who I know for a long time from my college years and some of my family members, and spend time with them. So this year taught me actually the power of connection that we always sometimes overlook to think about. If you're going to the office, you hang out with the same group of people and you work on the same type of things. Unavoidably, you don't have time to choose who you hang out with and what you do day to day. Our friends and relationship and these kind of genuine, natural connections don't usually get to build if we're behind the office walls and do not have time to go out there. Our nature, I think, we really are longing for connections that we care about. Like for me, the connections you can see in this video, I built in coffee shop. I have the entire video about how do you build connections in coffee shop. I easily can pick up friends and new connections, or even just a friendly chat to understand where they're from. And nowadays, because I'm staying in different temporary place and also by chance become friends with these people that I'm staying with. So I would say this year it taught me wherever you go, you can find your people. Your people are out there. You just need to reach out and say the first sentence, or need to take the first step forward. It's not that hard, just to say, how's your day, it looks great, this coffee is nice, and that kind of thing. Like, what's this book about? And of course, sometimes always will be people there like, why are you talking to me? But that's fine as well, right? You strike up a conversation and end up having a new friend. That's the greatest thing ever.
Was there ever a moment you wanted to quit?
Oh, many moments. So be completely honest, it hasn't been easy for the entire year. There's times I felt super stressed, there's times I felt burned out, there's times I felt that I don't have a home, and there's times I felt maybe I shouldn't live like this. But every time I felt like life has a way to catch me. There is a way that things will turn out to be okay, and it turned out to be stronger than I think. The people that I come across are so friendly, and the things that has happened to me, and after I overcome those, I have come out from the other side way stronger and happier and more confident about who I am and the life I chose to be.
Is this the coziest place you've stayed in?
Yes, because the coffee machine makes all the difference. I'm so happy here. I can make coffee for myself every day. So I think I'll keep it going. But one thing I want to say is digital nomad is definitely not about just sitting on the beach and drink a cocktail and looking in Bali's beautiful islands or whatsoever. Or like people say that, oh, if you're in Lisbon, are you going on holiday? And that's not true. Like, I think digital nomad is more of a lifestyle that you chose to live in different places throughout the year. You get to decide where you want to stay, and you also get to decide what kind of budget that you want to set for yourself, what kind of lifestyle that you allow yourself to have. And the most liberating factor, I would say, is you get to choose what kind of places that fit you the most. So for me, it's somewhere like Lisbon, somewhere it's sunny, somewhere it's good food, good coffee, and if I want to, I can go to the beach. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm on the beach all day long. So yeah, that would be the truth about digital nomad. Of course, everyone will have their own experience, so I cannot speak for everyone, it's just my own experience. So looking back, this year has been the most transformative year of my life in the recent few years, because I've learned to adapt, I've learned to let go of unnecessary things, and I've learned how to build a life from scratch and build connections from nothing again and again, and also to find joy in new connections. Starting over wasn't always easy, but I believe that because I have done it many times now. It shows me that how much possibilities are out there just for you to give it a try. Just need to step one step further, and one step further, and then one step further. And that's 12 months later, you find out you're not the same person as who you were 12 months earlier. And that, I found it's beautiful. I saw it somewhere else, but I really, really love this quote. So that's a year as digital nomad, as starting over at the age of 34.
Where do you see yourself next year?
I don't know, but definitely somewhere with good coffee and a lot of sunshine. How has your year been? Do you ever want to become a digital nomad as well? Or what's your experience of traveling? And what's your goals for 2025? Do you have dreams to start over again? Or do you have dreams to maybe try out the digital nomad life? Leave a comment down below. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I really appreciate it. You can subscribe it, share with your friends and family if you like this video. And I will have another video about this year's New Year resolution and my reaction about it. And I think that will be super fun. Stay tuned.